medications suspected of causing EOE or symptoms of EOE? Do you think of any medications that have been predisposed for patients to EOE?
I can answer that one too. I think we know that EOE has a basis in genetics, like Amy Jenkins said in her talk, that there is definitively, based on twin studies, a genetic component. Okay, and that makes about 20% of the risk, and the other 80% is environmental. And I think there's been a persistent concern that, hey, are some of these medicines we're doing early in life predisposing our patients to develop EOE later? And certainly there's evidence for antibiotics, and that's true of a lot of different conditions, so I don't know that that's very specific. There's been some studies that have located maybe proton pump inhibitors early in life, but there's a big confounder in that a lot of patients with eosinophilic esophagitis probably have symptoms earlier than the EOE is actually recognized. By default, the eosinophilic esophagitis is a delayed diagnosis in that I'm not just prospectively performing endoscopy on people. You really have to have symptoms that are concerning for an underlying condition. So you're not going to get an endoscopy until you're symptomatic. So it's a little bit tricky to know whether the proton pump inhibitors are really predisposing you to eosinophilic esophagitis, or if you have symptoms that are related to eosinophilic esophagitis earlier in life than we even recognized, and therefore you're on a PPI, because those are the kind of medicines that we target those symptoms with, like reflux, vomiting. So it's tricky. So I think yes is the answer, but no, it's not specific enough that I can educate you or the general public to say, hey, we really should be avoiding these medicines early in life so that we don't develop eosinophilic esophagitis. I think the one exception is that we do have pretty good data on oral immunotherapy that can kind of trigger eosinophilic esophagitis in patients that didn't previously have eosinophilic esophagitis. And so there's a lot of research around that, and selecting patients that are the right patients to go on OIT, screening patients for eosinophilic esophagitis that have concerns before starting OIT, oral immunotherapy, which is for those who don't know what that is the thought that if you have a peanut allergy, true IgE-mediated food peanut allergy, that you can give small doses, work up on the doses under the guidance of an allergist and immunologist, so that you can kind of extinguish that allergic response and then maintain that tolerance for prolonged periods of time by eating small amounts of that allergic food over every day over time. So yes, I think that's a great question again, and one where we've explored a little bit, but there's a lot more exploration to do, because that's important. That will have important implications on how we treat patients in the future, and hopefully get to the point where we can prevent this from ever happening.